Hello everyone, I am Sachin Haridas Rohane, Assistant Professor, Yashoda Technical Campus, Faculty of Pharmacy, Satara. In this video, I am guiding you to study the drug acting on central nervous system with respect to of the GPAD examination. Right? Now let's begin the guide. So this is the general classification of nervous system. Nervous system divided into two parts, that is peripheral nervous system and central nervous system. Then peripheral nervous system again divided into two parts, efferent and afferent. Then efferent divided into two parts, autonomous nervous system and somatic nervous system. And autonomic nervous system divided into two parts, sympathetic autonomic nervous system and parasympathetic autonomous nervous system. So today we are focusing on the central nervous system. So in this video I am discussing about the chapter that comes under central nervous system. First chapter that I am discussing, that is general anesthetics, then sedative hypnotics, then antiepileptic, then anti-Parkinsonian drug, fifth antipsychotic and anti-manic drug, sixth antidepressant and anti-anxiety drug, seventh opioid analgesic and antagonist, and lastly I will cover the guidelines regarding CNS stimulant. Now let us see the guidelines regarding general anesthetics. First, here I mention MAC, minimum allowable concentration. This is the term generally used in anesthetic region, right? So just check out what is the meaning of MAC. Then stages of anesthesia. It plays very much important roles because we have to know in which stages the anesthesia or surgery is taking place, right? So that's why I have mentioned, well, just briefly you just understood the meaning of each stages. Then after stages of anesthesia, then you should go for classification. Then there are two types of classification. First, that is the drug comes under inhalation. Second, that is intravenous. Again, in inhalation there are two types, that is gas and volatile liquids, whereas in intravenous, fast acting drug and slower acting drug, right? So check out the agent comes under this classification and study out specifically the storage condition, right? Specifically in which condition which gas is or which drug is used. You just focus on the specialty of each drug. Then lastly, mechanism of action. There are two theories, that is lipid theory and protein theory. Just check out the meaning of protein theory as well as lipid theory, what they want to say, what is the mechanism involved in that protein theory as well as in lipid theory, and how it is applicable to anesthetic agent. So just check out the two theories, that is protein theory or lipid theory. Now let us see the guidelines to study sedative and hypnotic. There are two terms, that is sedative and hypnotic. So you have to understand the meaning of both. What is meant by sedative or what is meant by hypnotic, right? And how hypnotic can be useful in this kind of situation. Now here first you focus the difference between sedative and hypnotics, how hypnotics differ than sedative or how sedative is differ than hypnotics. Then different phases of sleep. No doubt we are treating the sleep, right? We are producing the sedation, so we should know the nature of sleep. So there are phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 likewise. So you have to understood the different phases of sleep. Then role of GABA receptor, right? So how GABA receptor plays an important role in sleeping process, or how the drug is acting on GABA receptor. So just check out the role of GABA receptor in sedation. Then classification. Then barbiturates classified, or the sedative hypnotic agent classified into following types. First, that is barbiturates, and second broadly non-barbiturates. In non-barbiturates there are benzodiazepine derivative, aldehyde derivative, then piperidine derivative and quinazolone derivative. So whatever the agent comes under non-barbiturates, so they are classified according to the basic or lead nucleus present in that drug. Again, this barbiturate divided into different subtypes. For example, short acting, ultra short acting, intermediate acting, and long acting. So you have to just classify barbiturates and non-barbiturates in the following manner. Then after classification, then structure activity relationship. Here you have to focus on the barbiturates derivative. So you have to study the structure activity relationship related to barbiturate derivatives. Right. So while studying the mechanism of action of each category, no doubt each drug showing different kind of mechanism of action or they are acting differently. So you have to enlist the mechanism of action of each category. So in this way you have to study the sedative and hypnotics. Now next, that is anti-epileptic drug, also called as anticonvulsant. So these are the drugs which treat the epilepsy. So first of all, you have to focus on the types of epilepsy. Here I mentioned two subtypes, that is generalized seizures and partial seizures. Again, these two subtypes divided into further types. So you have to study each types of epilepsy. Why? Because you should know what is the difference between each type, right? What type of symptoms, signs is shown by the each type. Then and then you can categorize the epilepsy or you can treat the epilepsy. That's why it is necessary to study the different types of epilepsy. Just focus on different types of epilepsy, about their signs and symptoms, about their different characteristics. Then classification and MOA. Broadly, they are classified into first barbiturates, then hydantoin, then deoxybarbiturate derivative, then immunostilbene, succinamide, then aliphatic carboxylic acid, benzodiazepine, phenyltrazine, and newer drug. So it means that all these drugs are different in their chemical nature or the basic lead nucleus nature. So that's why they have different mechanism of action. We already studied that is barbiturates showing the effect on GABA receptor. So hydantoin having different mechanism of action, that is specifically on sodium potassium pump. Right. So similar manner you have to check out the mechanism of action involved in each category, and you have to mention in a tabular form. Category MOA likewise. So I am just reflecting you. There are different mechanism of action involved in different category that you have to focus or you have to check out, right, regarding this anti-epileptic drug. Then after this, then we should just focus on the anti-Parkinson drug that treat the Parkinson disease. Here the most important thing you have to check out the role of dopamine in Parkinson disease, right? So how it plays the role, how disease is affected because of dopamine, whether it is a disbalancing of dopamine or there's an extra secretion of dopamine, you have to check out, right? So main focus in Parkinson disease, that is role of dopamine. You have to check out most importantly. Now second, that is classification and mechanism of action, right? First, most important thing, just check out the classification. First, drug affecting brain dopaminergic system, right? So whatever the subcategories given under first, that is definitely affecting the dopamine secretion. First, dopamine precursor. B, peripheral decarboxylase inhibitor. This is the enzyme which is involved in the dopamine metabolism. Then C, dopaminergic agonist. It means that they will support the secretion of dopamine. Then D, MAO B inhibitor, right? E, COMT inhibitor. F, glutamate antagonist. So whatever the category, whatever the drug, whatever the agent that comes under first category, they will definitely helpful in the secretion of dopamine, right? Now check out the second category, right? The second category is drug affecting a brain cholinergic system, right? So again divided into subtype. Central anticholinergic, so it is an antagonist. B, antihistamine. So definitely there is a role, there is a something relationship between dopamine and the acetylcholine. You have to check out the relation between dopamine and acetylcholine. And no doubt this classification is given in the form of pharmacological action, or sometimes it is in the form of mechanism of action, right? So it means that there are several mechanisms involved to treat the Parkinson disease, right? So that's why I mentioned classification and MOA. So it means that all the categories having in the form of mechanism of action, right? So now just check out. Now let's see the guidelines to study antipsychotic drug. The signs and symptoms which finds regarding this psychosis, they are many ones, right? So you have to check out the role of dopamine in psychosis, right? So how dopamine is affected the psychosis process, or what kind of signs and symptoms is generally observed or occur in psychosis. Then you should go for its classification. Most important thing, phenothiazine, right? Then butyrophenones, thioxanthines, and atypical antipsychotics. So specifically you just focus on majorly on phenothiazines, then butyrophenones. Here mechanism of action and receptor. So as we are just discussing, we have to focus on dopamine and its role of in psychosis. No doubt the receptors will be the same for the target. But check out the classified drug whether they are acting on same or not, or they are having different mechanism of action. But whole and soul, I supposed to say the maximum drug definitely will act on dopamine, right? So mechanism of action are related with dopamine. Then structure activity relationship. You have to focus only on phenothiazine. There are several drugs comes under phenothiazine category. So that's why you have to study the SAR related with only phenothiazine. In the similar manner that you have to just focus the lead nucleus, the name of lead nucleus, and then you have to focus only those things which plays only those substitution which plays important role either in side effect or in mechanism of action. Now check out the guidelines to study antidepressant drug. No doubt these are the drugs which treat the depression. Here mostly you have to follow the role of neurotransmitters, specifically serotonin and monoamine oxidase. How it plays the role in the depression process. Then classification. First, reversible inhibitor of MAO inhibitor, right? It is called as MAO inhibitor. So it is reversible process. This is first category. No doubt it is according to the pharmacological action. Second, tricyclic antidepressant. So this is a chemical category. Again, it is divided into two parts. A, that is Na or 5-HT reuptake inhibitor. And second, predominantly Na reuptake inhibitor. So no doubt it specifically gives an idea about mechanism of action. Now third category, that is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Again, it indicating the mechanism of action. Then fourth, serotonin and non-adrenaline reuptake inhibitor. It is a mixed action. And lastly, a typical antidepressant. So this is the classification, gives an idea about mechanism of action. So you have to only study the name of drug. Definitely that drug shows similar this kind of mechanism of action. Then mechanism of action and receptor. The receptor, that is serotonin and monoamine oxidase, and mechanism of actions that is given in classification, right? So you have to mention in a tabular form. Then structure activity relationship. Here you have to focus only on tricyclic antidepressant in a similar manner. First you have to mention the lead nucleus present in each drug. Then you have to only focus those substitution which affect the the main therapeutic effect or side effect. After that, then we are moving towards the guidelines regarding anti-anxiety agent. So they are classified into two. There are classified into three classes. That is first benzodiazepine, second barbiturates, and third non-barbiturates. When you observe this classified drug, we already use in previous disorders. Barbiturates in sedative and hypnotics. Non-barbiturates same sedative and hypnotics. Benzodiazepine in antipsychosis. So somehow similar kind of drug also useful in or to treat anxiety. Then monoamine, that is mechanism of action and receptor. So same kind of receptor that is used in psychosis, the same kind of receptor also applicable in anxiety. No doubt you have to check out the mechanism of action related with classified drug. For example, benzodiazepine having different kind of mechanism, barbiturates having different kind of mechanism. So it means that while treating the anxiety, there are different mechanisms. Now let's focus how to study opioid analgesic and antagonist. Firstly, you have to focus on the role of opioid receptor. Again, this opioid receptor divided into subtype like mu receptor, kappa receptor, delta receptor, etc. Now you have to check out which receptor plays which kind of role. Again, you have to check out whether similar kind of receptor involved in antagonist or not. Then classification, they are classified into three subtypes. First, natural alkaloid of opium, that is morphine. Second, semi-synthetic analog. Third, synthetic agent. Then check out mechanism of action, whether all these three category which is classified in the classification show similar kind of mechanism of action or having different action. But certainly no doubt chapter name is opioid analgesic, that's why they show action over opioid receptor. Then structure activity relationship, specifically morphine derivative. You have to study in a similar manner. First, just mention the lead nucleus present in morphine derivative, and then check out the substitution which majorly affect therapeutic value or side effect. lastly, morphine antagonist. Check out the structural similarity between the opioid analgesic and antagonist, whether they are similar or not. If it is they are similar, so why they are similar? How they show the antagonistic action. This is the important point that we have to cover under morphine antagonist. Then lastly, just check out central nervous system stimulant. In previous, we have just covered depressant drug, antidepressant drug. Now here CNS stimulant. What we have to do? We have to just check out the role of NA and DA. Right. So how it affects the CNS stimulant. Classification: convulsant, analeptic, and psychostimulant. Mechanism of action: no doubt three category which comes under classification having different mechanism of action. So you have to check out how this drug showing the mechanism of action and shows CNS stimulation. So I hope you understood all the guidelines regarding to study chapters which comes under central nervous system. So thank you for watching.